Hey everybody, welcome to the Shead Show. But for real this time, what's going on here? Like I've
It's me.
never, like
It's
I've
me. Hold
never
on.
done this before, bro.
It's
Like
me.
I've
No,
no,
it's
no,
on
no.
me. It's
This is
on
all
me. It's
me.
on
No,
me.
no,
It's on
this is
me.
all
It's
on
on.
me.
I smell it. It's on me. It's a me thing. It's a me thing. I'm just gonna say it. It's a me
Oh
thing.
my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, so now that we
Hey,
got
hey. The way the internet's going, I'm about to start protesting you. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. It's a me thing. All right. I'm just saying it. Fuck it. Happy Friday. Here
Happy
we
Friday,
go.
everybody. Hey, I'm getting texts from and phone calls from people I went to high school with that I ain't talked to in years. So I just want to appreciate those folks that put me on blast.
Yo, man. We see you, player. We
Yeah,
see
it's
you.
been great reconnecting. Um,
Cancel culture is a motherfucker,
it,
man.
it really
Welcome.
is.
Welcome.
But hey, it is what it is. So I
You
think we
wear
should
it well.
probably thank you very much. It's because I have friends like you that call me and support me. But
Hey, man.
I think we should probably start with what you brought up first thing, which is the Hurricane Otis that hit in
Yeah.
Acapulco, which turned out to be extremely devastating. Which and you were kind of filming me. Go ahead and tell me just like because you said they went to bed and it was
So
just
the big concern that we're having right now, the conversation that we should all, everybody around the world should be having, is that climate change. This is the face of it. Okay, so you could go to bed with news, knowledge within 24 hours of, oh, there's a tropical storm, Otis, that's just kind of blowing around in the ocean, and you're like, okay, well then it's a tropical storm. I've lived through those almost 40 years of my life. Like I'm not
yeah,
not worried about it.
right.
The dangerous thing that happened here in Acapulco is that it turned into a category 5 within 24 hours. So we're talking about no one even got a warning to get the hell out of the way
No,
if you were able and body, like, or to batten down the head, like really close down, like lock it down, food, supplies, everything. So Acapulco, my heart really goes out for them because
yeah,
this is something they did not ask for, nor were they prepared for. I mean, we're talking about literally you go to bed and then you wake up to Armageddon knocking on your door.
yeah.
And the thing that we all need to start being really mindful of is that this may become the new norm. So if you hear of a tropical storm, start really kind of preparing for, especially during that season. I don't know if you really so
Yeah.
much deal with it in Arizona. In New York, my wife and I we gather jugs of water. We have a certain foods to just have prepared, ready to go in the freezer, just for hurricane season alone. Because of
Yeah.
living through Sandy, we were like,
Yep.
you need to be prepared for just anything to happen. That's all.
Yep.
Just in case shit happens, be prepared. And so my heart goes out. It's about like 27 people so far counted that have passed away. And, but you never know with the complications, the aftermath of all this, what
Yeah.
else could happen. So, really tragic, but we got to be really careful. Climate change, this is no joke. This is going to be the severity of all of it.
I mean, I don't think at this point that there's any
It's
arguing
insane.
that climate change here is real. I mean, it's
I mean, if
just
you have a R next to your name
well, yeah. But I mean,
in
these people,
America,
like you said, just looking at some of these photos, it's just knowing
it's
that
so
they went to
devastating.
bed thinking it was just going to be a little bit of a rough, storm, and it ends up being the, finger of God, so to speak.
Mike
Um,
Tyson in his prime
oh man,
swinging at you. It's
I
like,
mean,
Jesus Christ.
Jen and I have both been through several typhoons when we were stationed over in Japan. So
Mm,
we're well versed. I mean, the worst I think I went through was a Category 3, and that
okay.
was still blowing. It was still blowing some pretty heavy stuff down the road. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah, it
Oh
was
yeah.
still a powerful storm. So I can't imagine what a Category 5 is.
I
Uh,
lived in Florida for a couple of years, and I think if anybody spends enough time in Florida, long enough, the Florida man comes out of you years later. And I found myself on a rooftop having a couple beers during Sandy in Midtown Manhattan, and it was quite lovely. I'm not gonna lie, I was on a lawn chair just sitting there in the middle of a hurricane
it is
having
what
some
it
beer,
is. Yep.
and here's New York going through Armageddon, and it was what it was.
Oh man. All
Yeah,
right. So, like you said, if there's anybody watching and you're able to send any type of financial aid, I'm sure Acapulco's going to
yeah.
be needing it. I don't have any links to put up right now,
It's
but
way too soon.
yeah, but I
Way too
would
soon.
definitely hope urge people to kind of keep an eye out, because I'm sure there's going to be some numbers and some organizations that are going to be doing something for them over
We
there.
can't forget about Acapulco because they're definitely going through it right now.
Yeah, it's and I know with everything else going on, it's just one more thing, but we can't let them down. That's
Right.
it's going to be rough. So with that, I wanted to kind of pivot into another crap story, which is the shooting in Maine, the mass shooting. What are your thoughts on that?
With new information coming out right now, where they're talking about how he just went recently through a breakup with his girlfriend, it makes me really think about how America looks at domestic abuse. It makes me think about how we as a society look at just people in need in general. I do not really like the conversation that's happening. Of course, that's finger pointing, and it's too soon to talk about. And there's when is there a time to talk about it? And my question is to engage with certain folks is, okay, this is too soon to talk about it directly after this shooting. Give me a fucking date. I will put it on my calendar. Rain, sleet, or snow, bitch, we are talking about it.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck if there's a gun incident that day. Mark your calendar. We're going to put it on there. We're talking.
Yep.
Because it's going to happen every single fucking 12 hours. Every single day something's happening. When do we call it enough?
Yeah.
My man went to multiple locations and just went through people. You
And
have an AR-15.
They still don't have them.
No. I wouldn't be surprised if my man blew himself fucking up.
Well, I read, and again, there's so many things coming out. I'm not saying that this is, true, but I read that they had found like a note that he left for his kid, a suicide note. But it's like you can't find him. Where the hell is he at?
We may not find him. He may be just dead at the bottom of something. Like, we don't know. And
that's true.
This is literally time is only going to tell. He clearly wanted to take people out with him. This is one of those desperate needs. But I mean, honestly, Ryan, I want to know what you think about this, because this may be a little closer to home. He's a veteran. Is that correct?
Yes, from what I understand.
They're blaming mental health.
Yeah, I mean that. I want to talk about Candace Owens and what she posted, because I think it's very dangerous for people like me.
Hold on.
No, I know. No. It's this, but it has to do with this.
I'm saying, as in, like, Tommy Lauren in blackface paint. I don't care about her right now. Let's focus on what you presently.
Okay.
I want to know how you feel from this. I'm not worried about exterior forces.
Of course, I think mental health plays a role in it. Is it everything? No. I've been struggling with my mental health. I was undiagnosed for years, maybe even over a decade, and I only ever wanted to hurt myself. So it's like, just because you're struggling with mental health doesn't mean you're going to go out and do something like this. But again, on the flip side, you can't completely ignore it, because of course it plays a role. You have to be unstable to go into a public place and just start shooting people at random. Like, yes, you're clearly mentally unstable, but now let's look at the rest of it too. Like I think the big question is, how can we prevent things like this? And everybody says, well, let's regulate mental health. And it's like, I try to tell them, like, I can't even get into the VA for a decent mental health appointment. And I'm a veteran. So
we don't vote for it. We don't back it. We don't put our money where our mouth is when it comes to funding mental health. If we funded mental health, everybody would have a therapist. Everybody.
And God honest, I think most people probably need one.
Yeah.
I know I've benefited from having a therapist, because it's different to talk, like Kaylin said, Kaylin, and she's public about it, so I don't mind talking, but Kaylin and I struggle with the same things. And I think we're on the same type of medications as well. But it is such a multifaceted issue, like she just said, because it's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. There's, just like mental illness isn't all the same. Even though the road we travel is very similar, of what it does to your life, but everything's still different. Like, if you have a multiple personality disorder, okay, that's probably a hell of a lot harder than what I deal with. It's that. So it's just knowing those things, that, there's some mental health diagnoses that are probably more likely to do something like this. But the other flip side I want to point out to everybody is that you can't blame just the mental health. And here's what I mean by that. It's just like addiction. You can't force somebody to go to rehab. It's probably not going to take if they do, if they're forced. But if they make that decision and they walk through those doors on their own, their chances of being successful are higher because they want it for themselves. And that's the difference, and therapy is very similar. Somebody can make you go to therapy, but they can't make you talk. And that was that it took my therapist that finally got me diagnosed took her a year and a half to get through all the stuff, all the BS that I would do for us to finally figure out what it was. So it's just, and then you want to talk about evidence-based therapy. EBT, if you don't know what it is, go read it. And basically what it is they say, okay, for somebody like me, they're going to give me 10 appointments. And then after that,
it's on you.
They can pretty much say, oh, no, he's good. So you don't ever develop a relationship with a therapist that way. And for me, I do not trust people. And when you want me to tell you my deepest, darkest secrets, we're going to need a relationship for that. And you can't do that through EBT, in my personal opinion. So, just knowing how the VA has switched how they approach mental health. But again, I want to say, we cannot account for this man's state of mind, if he was getting help, if he stopped taking meds. There's so many things we don't know about this situation. So I hate to cast that wide net, and just say it's both. It's mental health.
No, but it is. There's so many layers to it.
Absolutely.
But in the end, how did my man get this weapon? It's documented that he's having mental issues, breakdowns. Yep. It's documented, him, the ex, everything, whatever's unfolding about that situation. Yep. And my favorite talking point is, well, criminals have weapons. You're only a criminal when you misuse it.
Correct.
So at what point do we have this conversation as a checkpoint? But you know what? Mark it on your fucking calendar. Let's have that conversation.
Yeah.
No matter what the fuck happens, let's talk about it.
Can I jump in here, Ian? And I just want to say, I even want to go a step farther and be a little more direct about it. If now is not the time to have this discussion, when is?
When their kid's dead.
Like, I don't think that there's an inappropriate time for us to have this conversation, because this isn't a stupid political game that's being played. This is an honest conversation of people are losing their children, their mothers, their fathers, their grandparents in grocery stores and bowling alleys and movie theaters and school. What do we do about it? It's an honest conversation that needs to be had. And the best time to freaking have it is when everybody's upset and everybody's paying attention. Not, oh, let's wait 3 weeks and then we'll talk about it. Well, there's going to be 3 more mass shootings in that period of time. But
the people who make decisions, their kids are sheltered from all of it. And it only will affect them when their children are affected by it.
Kalen said that he was a firearms instructor. I didn't realize that one.
Yeah. Yep.
So, again, this is a dude who probably has all his firearms legally, right? Yep. Very well trained in them if he's a firearm instructor.
Like on paper, he's solid. He's
on paper, you'd look at that and be like, oh, veteran, a firearm instructor. Oh, yeah, cool. Right. He checks the check marks. That's an honest comment. So, and then I think that just, again, drives home the point that there's so many things you can't account for and every single shooter situation is different. And I think that's the tough part is it isn't a cookie cutter thing. Everybody's reason for going in and doing is different. Some people it's racism. Some people, well, most of it is that. But, anti-Semitic, whatever it is, the economy, they lost their job. We had a federal contractor that showed up at a train yard in Virginia when I was a contract back in like 2013 or 14. It was a big deal back then because he had a security clearance. Yep. Like this dude had been vetted through the government and he still ended up doing what he did. So it's just
one bad day. Takes one bad day.
Amen, brother. So
you have access.
So my whole thing is, how do you regulate? How can you say we'll regulate mental health? Because we can't. It's not possible. It's not feasible.
No. And this is not Minority Report. We're not looking at you before the incident happens. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like it's this bullshit sci-fi mentality that we have where it's like it's controllable. None of it's controllable. But
No.
it's one of those things of just checking in on your neighbor, checking in as a community. How are you
Yeah.
doing? Like literally checking in on you. Hey Ryan,
Yeah.
how you doing, brother?
He
You
and
know what
he
I'm saying?
and I'm telling y'all, Ian does that. Like he's not just talking. Like I said it in the beginning of the show. There's stuff going on. Some stuff started with me last night with another creator or whatever, and Ian was one of the first people that text me. Be like, hey, how you doing? So it's just that stuff matters because when stuff goes down, you start to feel alone and like nobody's got your back. It's really nice to get those kind of texts from the people that are just like, just want to check on you, make sure
And
you're
don't act
good.
like I was a sympathy pillow, brother. I'm busting balls. I'm over
Oh,
here. I give
yeah,
you
he
humble
does.
pie. Don't get it twisted.
but
I'm
but
busting my jokes.
but that's what makes our relationship
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's just the fact that people reach out, and to everybody that did, because I know a few people I haven't been able to get back to yet. Thank you so much. Your guys' support really does mean a lot to me. But before we move on from, go ahead.
No.
And
Now I wanted to hear about your favorite
I was
other
about, there we go.
individual.
So I'm gonna put, I think you're gonna see why I'm putting this up. Normally, I would not talk about Candace Owens. I
She
wouldn't
does
give
not exist in my world. I just want you to know.
as she really shouldn't. But she has a large platform, and the fact that a lot of people were agreeing with this, just you'll see why it didn't sit right with me. Um, so she posted this on Twitter. Another mass shooting that Big Pharma is going to get away with. Never a discussion about the antipsychotic medications that these shooters all have in common. So we'll do the usual political song and dance while the American drug cartel billionaires count the billions. Bitch,
Okay.
first off, I'm on antipsychotic. It's part of my med regimen. And the one thing I tell everybody, not only did it save my marriage, it saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And to have people with these large platforms, come out and say these things that are factually incorrect. Like I literally posted a report underneath her thing that's like, this is factually wrong. You should not be putting this out there.
Right.
And to say that every mass shooter was on antipsychotics, that's such an inflammatory comment that you can't prove. And it's,
No, but she's the Jordan of head up ass. Like it's
oh,
she doesn't offer anything. Not even an insight. Like there's some conservatives that I actually am like, wow, like that is a great challenge to my perspective, and I need to be open to that. I don't think she really adds any value to any conversation. Not even race relations. I mean, she's the same chick who literally worked with suing for discriminatory behavior from a college, and then now doesn't believe in it and is fighting it. So
yeah.
she literally is an oxymoron, and I don't care about her contradiction. She literally is just chasing clout, and anybody like that who's just thirsty. I
Yeah.
can't fuck with them. I can't fuck with them. She's looking for shock value, and I can't fuck with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part I don't,
No.
I think everybody that has the social media platform, like you're always chasing news stories and clicks and stuff, but it's how you present it. Are you trying your best to present the facts? Not, I've gotten some wrong, not saying it doesn't happen, but
She's
like,
like Sean King. It's
exactly.
that
Like
shit.
Ian said,
It's
it's
that
totally
shit.
different. Yeah, it's totally different. So, yeah, that one kind of rubbed me wrong for obvious reasons. While I will be the first to admit that, of course, mental health is playing a part in these mass shootings, it's not the full story,
Right.
and it's not the only thing causing them. And to try and make it a one issue thing and kick the can down the road using it is extremely disappointing, and I think
Right.
we need to do better.
But none of it is one dimensional. We're not one dimensional
No,
beings. You know what I mean?
correct. Yeah.
My
No.
dog has more. He always comes back. He always wants to see you. My
Well,
dog has
look at him. Hey. Dude,
not one dimensional.
I would
Not one
steal your dog
dimensional.
in a heartbeat. I just want you to
I'm
know
telling
that.
you right now, my man thinks he's a pit bull and he acts like it.
He
All
looks
right. He's
like it
tough.
too. He's like,
He's tough.
look
He's
at
tough.
that.
Go ahead, Baba. But
And
yes, it's
the
we're
ratings
not.
go up.
Yeah, always, always. I'm just gonna have his face there. I'm
That's
not
all
a
we should
dog.
do.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that? That one senator. I'm not a cat.
Oh
I'm not a
yeah.
cat. Anyways,
Hey Sonia, thanks for joining. I'm glad you can
hello
find.
everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat.
Yes, thank you. We want to chat with you. We'll put questions up. We'll chat directly with you guys. So please engage. Okay, so let's move on to the new House Speaker, Mike Johnson. Holy crap. I thought Jim Jordan was bad. Like, this guy totally
there's
flew
always
under
bottom
the
of the
radar.
barrel, baby. There's always some bottom of the barrel. There's some scud down there. All right, there's definitely they reaching.
I feel like we got played.
I don't.
No?
I don't, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Or do you want to go first?
No, please don't. No, please.
You got to think long term.
Okay.
There's nothing they can do nor pass without having Democratic backing. Okay, still a Democratic Senate,
Right.
and it's still a Democratic president.
Yep.
He has zero control, even though he's the number 2 spot to become president. He has zero control over what happens at the next election.
Right.
That would be the number 1 person, which would be Kamala Harris, who will look over the election and solidify who the next president will be after the presidential election.
Right.
What's interesting about his position right now is that it just takes a couple of Republicans, because that fine majority could blow away anytime between now and the next election.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He may have to lean on the Democratic Party. They may give him clout. They may give him a little bit of wiggle room come the deficit, which is in a couple of weeks. What are we, 3 weeks away from the government shutting down once again?
Yeah.
The thing that you have to keep in consideration is that even though he is a lapdog for Trump, I can't see him taking orders from Brother Man when he's in Rikers Island. I just can't see it.
No.
You know, it's going to be one of those situations where he is they packaged him well. He looks clean. He speaks. He's charming. He has this little demeanor. He's a little Southern belle. He has it put together. But what's interesting is that he's extremely dangerous when it comes to the vote.
Yes.
And his views on women, his views on the election, being a denier.
Why don't I actually have a couple videos that I wanted us to directly respond to, and so the viewers can kind of get an idea of
who,
like what we're finding out. Like I said, I admittedly have never paid attention to this guy, so these video clips and things I'm finding out about him, it's new information for me personally. So it's just like,
and geez. This is what we got to keep in consideration when we go to the voting booth.
Absolutely.
This is who they all chose.
Yep.
To represent them.
Yep. So here's.
It gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America. Period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman.
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
What's your initial reaction to that?
Hates women.
Yeah.
It's anybody who doesn't step back and even have it in them to be like, well, what's the situation? What happened in any case? And this massive lie about women are on a whole nother front getting abortions at 9 months. No one's asking to. My wife had to get an abortion, which is a DNC, same fucking thing, because the fetus was dead inside her.
Yeah.
And I got protested against, standing outside to pick her up because I was not allowed in there with her. Yeah, so it's one of those things where you sit here and you're like, no, like, fuck off.
Yeah.
You don't know why people go here. You have no understanding, and no one gives a fuck about what you believe.
Yep.
You believe it. Great. Keep that shit in your house. But I bet you your daughter or your wife or somebody close to you is doing it behind your back because they don't want to hear your bullshit.
And they won't say it to you. Exactly.
It's not. And if you look at the data right now, since Roe, numbers have gone up on abortions. So they are leaning. Yes, numbers have gone up. Now, depending on state, it's going up in different states, which you're seeing that the number of abortions, nothing's changed.
Right.
People are just traveling to get them. So you're going to see the next move is leading into that direction where they're going to try to make it a national ban. And all I can say is, ladies,
Yeah,
It's up to you. You saved America this past election. It's up to you. How do you want to vote?
that's truth. Yep. I'm gonna put this up there again. Preach. Um, that one, I think for me, I'm gonna look at it from a different standpoint. It bothered me that you're talking about economics and a woman's right to choose.
It
It's
makes no
like
sense.
we're looking at women and being like, you know what? The population is going down. Like we see that trend. We're gonna need more workers. So we're gonna need you all to keep popping out babies, and we're gonna make it hard for you not to. Like,
He probably only said that because he couldn't say that slavery was we should bring it back.
yeah,
He's
I
just one
mean,
step away from saying that.
yes,
Free labor.
that is a
You know what
fact.
I'm saying?
That's a very good way to
Like
put it, bro.
that's more politically correct for him, coming from Louisiana.
Oh, I know. Hang on a second. Let me put this up. Kalen said, "What I know is Planned Parenthood of Tennessee and North Mississippi wouldn't have been able to stay in business for over 75 years in these areas if it was only liberal Democrats using their services." You know what? That's a great point because it's always been known that white white women and white conservatives in particular, sorry, always had access to abortions. They were just
Always.
backroom abortions. But women that looked more like my wife and my daughter and, your sisters, they did not, they didn't necessarily have that access. And
Well, they are the ones who suffered from the attempts.
well, they were suffering from the attempts. And it was also, I think, even more nefarious. It was, well, let's keep the poor people, reproducing, and we'll allow the rich people to control their reproduction. It's like,
How else do you create servants?
there you go.
That's what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. So let's move on to the second video I have, which is.
Let me ask you, do you support the right of a woman who is just seconds away from birthing a healthy child to have an abortion?
I think that the question that you're asking does not realistically reflect abortion care.
In that scenario,
would
would you support her right to abort that child?
I won't entertain theoreticals.
It's not a theoretical,
That's not
ma'am.
reality.
You're a medical doctor.
I am a medical doctor, and that has never happened.
Never happened in your
healthcare-
practice, ma'am, but it happens. How about if a child is halfway out of the birth canal? Is an abortion permissible then?
Can you repeat your question?
If a child is halfway delivered out of the birth canal, is it permissible to have an abortion? Would you support the right for an abortion then?
I can't even fathom that ever.
And I'm not asking you if you can fathom it. If it occurred, would you support that abortion or not? That's unrestricted abortion,
I can't
right?
answer a question that I can't imagine. Just like you probably can't imagine what you would do if your daughter was raped. If it hasn't happened, it may be
Okay,
difficult for you.
you're not going to answer this question.
That's who they chose.
That's their guy.
That's who they chose.
That is
So that's who they're in bed with, and
Yep.
so that is the bed that they will die in. I'm sorry.
Can we just revisit how stupid that is? If they're halfway out the birth canal, that's called murder.
I told you, I'm still looking for Ron DeSantis' abortion. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And now add him to the list because where does it stop? So the
This
thing
guy-
that is interesting of their talking point, though, of literally talking about just killing babies, you have to really ask yourself: is this something that they truly believe in their heart, like furries? Is this something they believe happens, or is this just how they're trying to?
Or they're just
Control
playing
the narrative.
politics. Yep.
You know what I mean? And I wonder how many abortions has his wife or his kids gotten?
Well, the crazy
Because
thing
that's
is,
usually.
did you know that he has an adopted black son?
I bet you he's getting a lot of free labor.
Oh shit. Fuck, bro.
Take that however you want to take it.
You know exactly how I took it. No, but
Blind side.
apparently
Sorry.
you can say that. I can't.
That's why.
But apparently what they're saying is that the adopted son, I guess, is an adult now, and I think has a family of his own, and it said that he doesn't want to have anything to do with his public life. And you know what? That may very well be true. I'm not saying it's not, but seems a little interesting to me. because he's got pictures of his white family and everything.
Just like the Jeffersons.
But then I wanted everybody to take a look at this one. This was him, I think, giving his first speech right after they selected him. Ian, can you see that? Because I think you're on your phone, but can you see that?
I see your head over one of their bodies. I feel like you're in it. I just want you to know that.
Is my head really in it?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the Shead Show. I see your logo. I don't see one person with any melanin in there, and Lauren Babbitt's fake ass tan does not count.
She does look like looks like she got painted with some brown paint.
Bro.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of diversity surrounding that speaker.
But keep in mind, there's only one black person in there, and he's from Florida, and he was running up against him. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, Byron.
Keep that in mind.
Byron, whatever his name is.
Isn't that it's not Reynolds? What? Shit.
Yeah, I don't know. So I want to show this last one. We'll move on to the next topic. But guys, again, please keep in mind this is our new speaker. This dude is what? He's second in line to the presidency now.
Yeah, he's been in Congress since 2017.
Yeah.
That's how long he's been in the game. So, I mean, very new. Very new. Which could be a benefit for him. He has no enemies. You know what I mean? He's been too new in the game to really step on some toes. So.
Well, he's starting to step on some already.
Oh, please.
This happens with almost every shooting incident. The immediate call by the left in this country, we need more gun laws, we need more legislation. Yeah. What's your answer to that?
At the end of the day, the problem is the human heart. It's not guns, it's not the weapons. At the end of the day, we have to protect the right of the citizens to protect themselves, and that's the Second Amendment. And that's why our party stands so strongly for that. I agree with the comments of your guests there. This is not the time to be talking about legislation. We're in the middle of that crisis right now. But I just want you to know, and I want the American people to know, that all the members of the House here are deeply concerned about the families involved and everyone. And we pray for the law enforcement officers that are doing that hard job tonight that most people do not have the bravery to do.
That's a lot of words for saying I don't give a fuck.
Right?
That's a lot of words. I mean, that's really a lot. Like, you just talk in circles. So the heart.
And I know we had touched on this from a mental health aspect, but again, if people are the problem, why the fuck are we going to give the problem a gun or a high-powered rifle like an AR-15?
Because what if we have to turn against the government and all their tyranny and their drones?
Yeah, then you've never seen what an F-22 can do.
It's just stupid. The argument's stupid as fuck. I mean, it is.
Kalen said, so diverse.
So diverse. No, I'm trying to think of his name though. Whatever, from Florida, the only one who was literally going up against all of them to be speaker. He's from Florida. I'm drawing a blank, so I'm just gonna let it go.
Well, and because we're talking about it in the context of what he just said, Kalen said every country in the world has people with mental health challenges. What they don't have are mass shootings. And that in and of itself tells you what have other countries been successful in regulating? Not mental health. They've been successful in regulating guns.
Look at Australia, New Zealand. They locked it down.
That's just a reality.
One case, and they locked it down. They said, we're not doing this ever again.
It's not Matt Gaetz you're talking about, right?
No, not Matt. Matt Gaetz is not black.
Oh shit. My fault. I forgot who we were talking about.
He's the one black.
That's on me. That's on me.
That house. That's the only one talking about. Someone Google it. Just tell me the name. I am ADD and I need to know the name. I can't look it up right now. It's killing me right now.
Oh my god.
Literally, and we're not talking about Tim Scott.
No.
He's too basic. He's not the one I'm talking about.
Byron Donalds.
Thank you, Donald.
Yeah. There we go.
He's the only one, and I didn't see him in that list. I did not see him in that photo.
The one that got it. No, he
Jeffrey,
wasn't.
Ding. Jeffrey wins. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hey Jeffrey.
He was not in that photo. I didn't see him. So what's it's not a diverse party. No. It's a party of literally 1832. The sweet old good party, the good old party. That's become the good QAnon party. It's where they live. And that's how we have to see them from here on out. You have to understand that the negotiating table is coming up in November with Hakeem Jeffries,
Yeah.
who the Democratic Party has shown that they are extremely unwavered, except there's some things that we need to discuss about our own camp. And I know we're going to get into that. And I think that is actually
No,
in the House
now's a
speakers.
good time. Now's a
One,
good time.
well, I don't think it's a good time to talk about we're in a crisis right now. What I find interesting about this is that this is from the House Speaker's backyard talking about that it's in people's hearts that we need to discuss.
Yes.
Do you have that clip to play?
Which one?
You know which one, in Tulane.
No, I don't. Sorry.
Do you have a photo of it about what's happening with Palestine protests in Louisiana?
Oh crap! I forgot to upload that video. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Um,
golden.
Yeah,
You're
no,
golden.
that's my bad. There's a
That
video. Explain the video though. Explain the
you
video.
explain it. You explain it.
So Ian sent me a video yesterday, and it was two guys in the back of a truck driving down the road, and it's to what it looked. Correct me if I get any of this wrong, please. But to me, it looked like there was, one side of the road was lined with pro-Palestinian protesters,
Protest. Yep.
and the other side was the Israel protesters. And going down the road in the back of a truck are these two guys, and
Flatbed.
they're dressed in, they had like head garb on, I believe.
Full head garb where you only saw the slit
Yeah.
of their eyes.
And then
And
one dude has the Israel flag and is trying to light it. And the people from that side start rushing the truck and trying to take the flag from him, so
rush
he can't.
over, they rip the flag out of their hands
Yeah.
so it's not disrespected or burned. And then a number of individuals start throwing fists, throwing hands.
Yeah,
And the cops have to
escalates.
get involved. It escalates for sure. And then you see it become a little bit of a brawl. But the reality is that it gets separated. And you sit here and you go, you know damn well that is not something that is showing solidarity. That is not showing anything that is anything but trying to escalate a situation.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's happening in Louisiana, like of all places, where I'm just like, what do any of you have really to grasp onto? I can understand if it was in Michigan, where we grew up, where it's the highest number of where any. Yep, there you go. Highest number.
Yep.
Detroit, Michigan.
And for those, who may be tuning into the show for the first time, Ian and I grew up in Metro Detroit. So, we're very familiar with the communities that surround the area. It's been this way for
Beautiful culture.
It is. Culture. And great food, and
amazing.
And again, that's why I've really taken the position, and we were talking about this earlier. I've taken the position of, I feel for all the innocent people, because I hate talking about, I personally, this is just me speaking for me, I don't like talking about the history of the conflict that's going on over there, because I don't feel well versed enough. So everything that I've tried to talk about has been from the military standpoint of the responses from all sides. And I think we talked about it on the last show a little bit. There's a big difference between a war against another army, another military,
right,
and a war against terrorism. It's two very different enemies, and fighting terrorism, in my opinion, is much harder than fighting a military, because when you're fighting a military, 9 times out of 10, they're wearing a uniform. So it's a little easier to identify them, okay, here they come, right, who you're looking for, who you're dealing with. When you're dealing with terrorists, you don't know. It could be a mom walking down the street. It could be a 10-year-old kid with a backpack. You don't know.
I mean, and the thing is that what's happening right now in Gaza is all it is creating more and more of people having hatred towards each other.
Dude,
because you're watching that mother lose her son, so therefore she does join. You're watching that son lose his family, and the only support he has is that.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that this is creating that, and they do need to find a more diplomatic way. And the thing that gets me about it is I feel like the conversation, everybody wants to start it at 1947.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how fucking far back do you want to go with this? Because if you are into biblical, if you are into anything about religion, Jesus was Jewish. Jerusalem, where all this shit went down. My man looks like he is from that fucking area. It's literally cousins fighting each other. This is not a black and white issue.
Yeah.
It's not. This is the language they all speak. America is literally anybody who is Arabic, Jewish, they all come from the same area. We're talking about 4 BC. All of them before Palestine, before
Yep.
Rome came in there and took it and did what it did with it. It's been diced up 15 million times. But people want to start a conversation at 1947 where everybody, or not everybody, where Britain was like, we're putting you guys right here and we're going to give you this land back because all of you belong with each other. All of you used to be in this melting pot together. We're putting it back here. Regardless of all that, the conversation that can be had is that there's a shit-ass leader in Israel by Bibi Netanyahu who is literally doing very destructive work in the West Bank. And that is a separate conversation that we need to have. We need to discuss it. Everybody needs to get on board. Americans do not need to be funding his war that is directly in the West Bank to create more settlers, to push out more Palestinians and remove people and occupy and destroy people's lives out there.
Yeah.
The other conversation is Hamas is not fucking down with you. I don't give a fuck if your pronouns or nothing. None of that shit fucking matters. When I hear people in their debate about, hi, my name's Catherine, I'm she, they, and I feel that what's happening, no one gives a fuck, and I'm saying this with all due respect. They would hurt you. You would be in Hamas's grip right now, and they'd be making a video about you, and you would not know what the fuck was going to be your next day.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
There's
a different conversation about being an innocent person who is in Palestine, who is in Gaza and has nowhere to go, which is so fucked up on another front.
Yep.
So fucked up. But you are literally talking about 200 people who got kidnapped. You're going to go ahead and parade like this shit is okay? Malcolm X didn't fucking kidnap anybody. Martin Luther King didn't kidnap anybody. Gandhi didn't kidnap anybody. So get the fuck out of my face about this revolution that's happening, about apartheid. Nelson Mandela didn't kidnap anybody. And he was there at the fucking apartheid.
Yeah.
There's a part here that is so infuriating that's coming from the left where I go, it is hard to defend you because you are literally embarrassing everybody about a real conversation. There are multiple issues to this as well. And one of the biggest things that literally is killing me right now is that the people who are in power are the ones who are wrong right now. And it's the people who are innocent and literally just trying to go through their daily life, just trying to be with their family, trying to celebrate their holiday. They are the ones who suffered. And it's one of those parts where Netanyahu has to go and fucking Hamas has to go. And they need to figure out how to live there because they're going to be there. There is no and, if, or but. They've been there for centuries together. They are going to continue to be there way past us being fucking dead. And I'm just trying to really wrap my head around this. If you want to start the conversation, go back before Jesus and figure this shit out because it's not 1947 that is the start of the conversation.
No.
Period. Full stop.
Yeah. No, and I of course, I think you have a lot of very valid points. And, I've had some people message me and everybody, there's just a lot of disappointment in how some people are responding because I'm just not of the mindset that it's like either or. You know what I mean? Like you have
to. Yes.
This is not, I don't think this is an either.
It's not an either or. It's not black or white. And America is really, America's showing its racism, period. Because they're only seeing as black and white. There are white Palestinians. There are black Jews, Israelis. Plain and simple. It is not, and there's Muslim Israelis. And there's Jewish Palestinians. It is not black and white the way that you see media pushing it. You see all these fuckheads in social media trying to have their little debates and how they're talking about free black boys. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's not literally black and white. You are brainwashed by how America fought its civil war, or I should say all of its wars up until this point of civil rights and everything else. But I really have to touch on the fact that when you look at what it took for our leaders to succeed and build off of the backs of everybody before them, you guys don't even celebrate Nat Turner. Period. He's not an American hero. People do celebrate him. I do think his story is very important in the American experiment. I think it's a very important story, but it's what he went through that led to that point here in America. This is not that. Hamas's attack on October 7th, 100% not winning anybody for building or getting your land back that you feel you're owed.
Yeah, you're not.
And
you're
there
not,
is
you're
a
not
honest
getting
conversation to be had there about land that they are owed. There is an honest conversation. But this is not that. And this has been hijacked. And then you do have to ask, is this only happening because they are Jewish? Is this only happening because you literally do have something biased inside you? And you sitting there talking about give their land back. Bitch, what land are you standing on?
Yeah. I mean,
I got a couple reservations in town for you to go visit and go tell them real quick.
I'm surrounded. We're actually surrounded by reservations here. Like, and they're fighting constantly to get, crumbs. Still,
they're fighting for fresh water in America through their reservations because the oil companies are poisoning them. So don't give me this bullshit about what's happening somewhere where you've never been and you know nothing about.
Yeah.
When in your own backyard, you can go actually fight for somebody whose land you're on. Plain and simple. If you have that in you, if you want that same kind of energy, bring it here.
Yeah. And I don't think I have much to add to that. It's
I'm a little too angry. I apologize.
No, I mean, that's what the show's for, bro. I think
therapy.
It's our therapy. Shit. But at the end of the day,
two grumpy old men. The Shead Show.
I think that's going to be the rebrand.
We're the fucking Muppets. Were those two guys now? Is that what's happening?
We're gonna be Bert and Ernie soon.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But not that.
Rubber ducky.
You're the one.
We gotta tell our wives something's going down, player. That's all I'm saying. You give me a bubble bath.
Oh man.
About it.
Oh, but you sent me something about this before we move on. It was what was it? I think it was this.
Oh yes, the UN. The UN is finally figured out how they want to mobilize and move forward on this. And it's interesting because 14 countries, U.S. being one of them, is against what the UN is pushing right now as a ceasefire. And it's interesting because Israel is now going into they did a covert mission. I believe it was last night.
Yeah, last.
But they're going into another one, and they're getting more and more into putting boots on the ground. So, but America just got into it with it just shot a couple. No. Syria. It shot a couple rockets at because they've been getting attacked, and they're like, okay, we're letting you know right now, don't poke the bear. And so they just blew up a couple of compounds, letting people know we're not the one.
Fair
so
correction.
it's
sorry, Jeff.
So it's quite interesting to see where things are, but we're letting people know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But this can go either way, man. This really and here's the thing that is really fucked up is and I know you stand with me on this. It's fucked up that Israel has control over the internet, the water, the food source, the medical supplies. Yeah. It's fucked up that it does. It's fucked up that Egypt is like, we're not letting any of you come into our borders at all from this. So these people are really stuck.
Well,
they're stuck.
And I want to tie that a little together, if you don't mind. What Ian said is very important for us all to realize is that, the Gaza Strip is, it's landlocked. So they can't really go anywhere unless Egypt lets them out,
Or they're going swimming. That's
or
it.
They're going swimming. And Egypt is not helping them pretty much at all. And you've got Israel saying, okay, we need you to move, however, million of people up 17 miles out of the way because we're going to start bombing everything. But now let's talk about,
and then misinformation. They're being told one version is leave, and another one's like, no, just stay. This
Yep.
is a bullshit ass response.
Well, and Hamas, here's the thing, Hamas doesn't want these people to leave because these
Correct.
people are their bargaining chips, and not
Correct.
just their bargaining chips, but their protection,
Shield.
which is the
Better word
other,
is shield.
which, yeah, exactly, which is, again, one of the many issues in this whole conflict
Right.
is that they are literally willing to use, women, children, anything and everybody to put in front of them and shield them. And that's,
And then put out the propaganda when they're hurt, when
yeah,
they're dead.
exactly. So, it's devastating. You cut water off to an area, you're essentially, we can't survive without water. You can go pretty while without food, but body can't last very long without water.
No.
And you sure
that's the
aren't
part
going to
that
be
is-
fighting. You're not going to be at your best fighting if you don't have water and sustenance and things like that.
Really thinking about it, this is like the Alamo almost. I mean, like, if you really put it in context, it's the Alamo. They're completely surrounded, and there's nothing they can do, and
There's
they're just
nothing they
there.
can do.
They are
And then
just there.
And the added severity of it is that, again, you have a terrorist organization that is spreading misinformation, like you're saying, as well as physically not allowing these people to leave. And that's what I personally am struggling with. While everybody else is debating, what you just said, where this conflict comes from, how long it's been going, blah blah blah. To me, this is what we should all be concerned with. These people don't
100%.
have anywhere to go. They, I think they got the water cut back down, if I remember, but still, they've
But now
gone.
the internet is what they're talking about.
Yep.
Communications have been,
And if you can't communicate with your troops or your fighters, whatever you want to call them, with your movement, then you're done.
Now that's the military standpoint. What's happening, which is really
Correct.
interesting, is that the protests that are coming from this, or they're saying they're not being heard, and it's like, well, that's correct because they're literally at war, and their voices are being silenced
Mhm.
because they don't want them to communicate and be able to literally position themselves in a way that would affect or hurt what is
Yep.
about to be this counterattack.
Yeah.
And yes, from a military standpoint, it makes sense. There's no communication, there's no internet. But who gives a fuck about them having access to internet? They're not logging on to Facebook to tell you how they feel.
Yeah.
That's not.
No. Do
I
you
mean,
want to know
look,
why they
I'm
don't
not-
want
I'm
the
not-
internet? They want the videos that are coming out stopped.
Well, they want to control. They want to control the narrative.
Yeah, that's
Also,
why
is another
that's
factor.
why they want to shut the internet down.
Which is and you know why? There's also that part, the threats of they're going to start killing people and have it on the internet.
Yeah, it'll be on the video.
And it's like, which we're not talking about this as a hypothetical. They were sending
No.
people's murders to their friends and family because they had their phones, their devices.
Yep.
So they would send them the clip. So there's some weird psychological bullshit that happened that's in this warfare. But in the reality of it, like you said, the water is more important right now. When you look at the
Yes.
resources that are necessary, internet's not going to fucking kill you. Water will, or lack thereof.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, let's get them the supplies. But Biden is talking about getting them the supplies that are necessary, medical supplies, food, everything that needs to be there. And it's interesting to hear how many people are hawkish on the other side of the things. And they're like, no, why would we do that? Why would you supply them? It's just going to Hamas. And it's like, this is how deep-rooted this issue is.
Yeah.
How do you take care of people who need the help? But at the same time, what uprising do they need to have to understand that they got in bed with this camp, much like the Republicans, and this is who you're with now. So how am I supposed to have all this empathy for you if you can't even take control of the situation from your end? There's so many layers to this.
There is.
Try to decipher.
I think the only thing I would add to that is that, it's like, I think it was like 48%, maybe even more of the population of the Gaza Strip were under the age of 18.
Children.
Were children.
Children.
So,
Plain simple, children.
for us to expect, the children to uprise against, a terrorist organization, I'm not disagreeing with you. I would love to see them be able to, uprise within their own borders and be able to get rid of Hamas, in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, that'd be great. But, the reality is that between women and children, I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough people to do an
I know
uprising.
enough gun-happy Americans who are pro-Palestine who may just join to go get rid of Hamas.
I could see that actually. Yeah.
Sign them up.
I mean, there's some went over to Ukraine, so why would it be crazy to think they wouldn't go there?
No, sign them up though.
Yeah. Oh man. Again, I just want to drive home where I stand on it. You know, I truly don't have any hate in my heart for Palestinians or, Israelis. I don't have hate in my heart for, Jews and Muslims in general. There's extremism everywhere. And, we're seeing a lot of that right now. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of innocent people that are getting caught in the middle of all of this. Those are the people I feel for. I feel sorry for the families that are losing, their loved ones that, went out and served in the military. It's just, I really am coming from a place of empathy and anger, of seeing what's happening to all those people,
So true.
yeah.
It's so tragic to see all this, literally since October 7th, how many people have died. It's so tragic.
It is.
It's
But,
so
and I want to say too, I remember watching the day that they were hit in that Israel, like watching that video, it sent me back to September 11th. It really did.
And when you say that, do you mean to see the video of the attack or to see the video of it
Just see
being
the
celebrated
build-
in Gaza?
No, not the
streets?
celebration. I meant like
Okay.
the actual, like seeing the smoke come, out, and when they panned out, it was just like, wow, that's eerily familiar to me, is what it felt like watching it. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and say that, they don't have a right to respond. It's just the way that it's all going down. And I'm not saying that I have a better way. It just sucks.
Part of it feels like it's punching down.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
sorry
a
to
little bit.
say.
Yeah.
Some of it really does feel that way. But at the same time, it's like America would be doing the same thing.
Kaylin, we love you and thank you, because I know most people that are here are probably here because of you. So, thank you. I didn't even realize the World Series was on. I don't follow baseball at all anymore.
I want to be Caitlin when I grow up.
She's pretty awesome.
She's badass. Thanks for
She
joining.
is.
Enjoy the game.
Yeah, Kaylin's great. All right, so we've gotten the House Speaker. Do you have anything else you want to say on Israel?
No. All we can do is just keep our eye on it, man. And it's like all we can do is really, really honestly just be supportive of your friends that are on both sides. I'm sorry. Yep. It's one of those things where we need to just be a support. And it's just fucked up all around. Plain and simple.
And again, if you're somebody who has resources, I know that there are organizations that are trying to help the innocent people in Gaza. So again, do your own research, but I know that there are organizations out there. And my wife and I were just talking about it yesterday, so we're going to try to find one. And when we do, I'll share it. But I don't know how much we can really do. I hope that the leaders can figure something else out besides level
as of right now, your tax dollars are doing more than we are right now.
Yeah. Well, that's
sorry
fair.
to say.
Yeah, and that's true. All right, let's get on to the good stuff. Ivanka and her dad.
Will they? Won't they?
Jesus. So let me ask you, what do you think she's going to say when she testifies?
I think Ivanka is his spitting image. And I mean that as in she is cutthroat. Yep. She will stab everybody in her family's back, except for Tiffany, because no one can find her.
Smile.
Not even a smile. I don't see her smile. But she would do it with glammed up. And she would do it to the point where she is taking over the empire, the name, the brand, everything. Yeah. Her brothers are buffoons, and it's interesting because she is more calculated, and it's interesting to me to see how deep a lot of it goes. And to your point in the news is that the judge said that she is not, she will be testifying.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to hear her testify. Everybody wants to hear what she has to say because she's not a buffoon. And it's interesting because she was, if you looked at her deliberation during the 2020, she put it on Front Street about her father.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, whoa, she's calculated. She's cold and calculated.
What's interesting to me is that they were trying so hard to get her removed from the case, off of, what was it? Statute of limitations.
Hmm.
So my thing is, why are they trying so hard to be like, oh, she has nothing to do with this. She's not an executive anymore, whatever it is. And so, the statute of limitations means that she shouldn't even be in this case. They're worried about her testifying.
But now my question is her lawyers her father's lawyers?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
She's isolated.
Yes.
She has her own team.
Which is why I think they're scared.
Well, I don't think it's scared.
Not her team. I think Trump's team.
Oh, was it Daddy's team that was trying to get her not to testify?
Well, I mean, I assume that there was probably some inner
objections of everything and just got it. Okay, so I find it interesting.
They were doing it through the court. They were doing it through the court. Yeah.
Right. The legal way, like what they actually. It's not just like on Truth Social that they're trying to bullshit. Got it. So what I find interesting is, and you got to keep in mind too, you got to do the song and dance when it's in the legal system. Mm-hmm. So her camp could be fighting it in a way, knowing that they're going to do it, but to show face of like, well, we tried to fight it. We didn't just willingly do it, right? Where his camp would be fighting it in the context of, she has too much dirt on me.
Yeah.
She knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So, I mean, if it's coming from her camp, though, I see it as more so of the show, political, completely, 100%. But she also feels like he ruined her social life because she was a socialite here. She in New York. She was, she was Ivanka.
Oh,
doing all the things.
The name does not carry what it used to.
They're not here anymore. It doesn't work here anymore. All of her social crew that were here, none of them, for the most part, really fuck with them no more. They're now in Florida. That's it. Like that. And she hates Florida. She's gone to say like, I want to be in New York. I don't want to be here.
I don't think.
But she's down there.
Melania likes Florida either.
Bro, Melania renegotiated that prenup. I'm telling you right now.
Tell it.
She straight up said, "Come here, Donald. Sign this paperwork."
I'm the captain now.
That's exactly it. I'm the captain now.
Oh shit.
Be best. Be best.
Yeah, I don't think New York wants any of them back. As a matter of fact, I think New York's been trying to get rid of the Trumps for 20, 30 years, but
bro, we've been painting over everything. All right, let me tell you.
I know.
And Letitia James,
wasted no time taking his name off of stuff. It was like they had standby crews.
Yes.
Like
literally. They say bing. Take it down right now. Quick. It's like those ladder competitions. You see them go up the ladder that fast. They've been doing it, man. They've been doing it. It's quite interesting to see the turnaround. And look, if Letitia James has her way with this, my man's about to lose that real estate and that business altogether, and it's a wrap. He has literally ran his father's company. It's not his father's company into the ground.
Because
he didn't build it.
Bro, it's just hard for me at this point to see him walking away from this. Like 90 plus indictments, arrested in 4 states. You got four of his lawyers flipping on him.
Three lawyers, and then the one dude, the random dude that was doing the breaking open the voting.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, voting machines.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
but I mean,
3 lawyers, which is leading directly to Rudy.
Which, by the way, hey Jenna, what's up? What's up, girl?
I feel like I should be crying right now when I say all this to you,
dude.
He's a
bail bondsman.
All she said was yes. But he is guilty for literally, which my favorite is breaking open these voting machines and then re-delivering them past the due date of when he said he would bring them back, but then in like hotel parking lots, like not suspicious at all.
No, nothing sus there.
My favorite is Jenna just saying that she's an incompetent lawyer and that she just truly believed whatever she was told, which tells you exactly where it all goes down to.
Anybody that passed the bar exam that would
It's a wrap.
stand in a courtroom knowing that the world is watching, or at least America, and stand there and be like, well, I depended on those around me with more experience.
It just goes to show that this is all failing upward. Every
Yes.
single thing tied to Mega is just you can fail upward.
Yes, that's
Plain
a
and
fact.
simple. It doesn't matter how hard you are, work, what school you went to, your connections
No.
is what it really comes down to. But it's failing upward, and if you get in line, you too can be Mike Johnson,
Yes.
because that's also failing upward. And
Yes,
I'm
it
telling
is.
you right now, you already know what happens when you get in bed with Trump. It doesn't end well.
No.
And it's quite interesting to see that he is a mega House Republican, and it's going to play out because elections are coming up.
Yes.
They just stalled for
Elections are
almost a
happening
month.
right now. I mean,
But when I'm talking about taking that
yeah, you're
House,
talking about 2024 election. Yeah. I
they
mean,
may not have it.
I hope we can take the House. I hope we can maintain the Senate, even if it's with this slim majority. And I think that's a perfect way to end the show, which is you sent me, we had somebody else jump into the presidential election for the Democrats.
Yes.
And that would
Officially
be,
today.
yeah, officially today. So Dean Phillips has, from Minnesota, has decided he's going to try to primary President Biden.
Yep.
So what do you think about that?
You know, I find it interesting is that Biden is Wonder Bread. He's Wonder Bread. There's nothing special on the outside. The packaging, anything. You know what you're getting with it. You know Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I told you before, and I'll say it again. Not good at public speaking. Don't care. I'm not here to sit here in a crowd and listen to him hoorah anybody. I'm looking at him legislating. Legislation is boring as fuck. He is extremely dangerous behind closed doors. And by that, I mean he gets things done.
Yes.
He negotiates his ass off. He knows all the power players. He is a perfect case example. And I'm not even saying that this is like the number one thing that we could have. It's just that he has shown that his experience really has come into play with a lot of these power players right now. He has grown with a lot of the world leaders at this point. He has known them as intern to now where they are all at. And it's quite interesting to see how he has maneuvered with Ukraine. He outmaneuvered the whole world and rallied everybody together to protect Ukraine at the beginning of this, letting everybody know. Before even Ukraine knew it was at war, Joe Biden was setting up shit to protect them.
Yeah.
That's how forward-thinking he is. With Israel, he knew what he needed to do. And he's there right now in the context of even holding restraint. We don't even realize when the Republicans are attacking him saying, where's Joe Biden? Why isn't he talking? He was making phone calls to make sure the nukes weren't set off.
Yeah.
He's the person who is calmly keeping people at bay during crisis. And it's interesting to me that it's not the guy I wanted, but it's the guy I realized America needed, especially at the time. And with this young man who's coming up, and I'm saying young because clearly we have, Gandalf the Grey in office right now. It's interesting to see if Biden will become Gandalf the White. And if he succeeds and he becomes president for the next term, he would be Gandalf the White, plain and simple. And it's interesting to just kind of take in if there is a challenge, great. It's only going to make Biden better. If he really can stand up to fight. If this gentleman thinks he really can do it, it's more than words that are going to do it.
Yeah.
It really comes down to your action. It comes down to your demeanor. It comes down to really what's inside.
Yeah.
And really listening to what the people really need and bringing that to the forefront. So.
Yeah, no, and I really agree with pretty much everything you said. I think it's going to be hard for anybody to really challenge what Joe Biden has done in terms of his entire administration. You know, I think that, and I hope that that's one of the things that we can remind voters of going into 2024, which is, when you vote for Joe Biden, you're not just voting for Joe Biden, you're voting for his administration. and his administration as a whole has done a pretty damn good job, especially considering what they've been given. And if you look at the news that came out, was it today, that the GDP grew 4 point something, I think it was like 4.7%. Like it grew exponentially over the last few months, and that's a big deal, because everybody's sitting out here, complaining about, oh, the economy's so bad. Well, actually, the economy is chugging along okay, but there's certain things that are making it hurt for the average American, which is, price of groceries, the fluctuations in gas prices,
housing
everything.
market, everything that's going on right now.
Housing market,
It's inflation is really killing all of us right now.
It is,
But
and
this is the part.
I like how you said that, though, and that's another thing I hope Democrats and liberals really push going into this election, that everything that they're complaining about, it affects all of us. You think Democrats aren't paying higher grocery prices? Of course we are. We're paying the same gas prices.
Avocado toast is expensive, goddammit.
Right? I don't even like avocado, but
my favorite dish, though.
But it is good.
Yes.
But that's just.
But it's the reality. Everybody's suffering right now, but we're all in this together.
Everybody. But we're all in it together.
If you look at other countries and what's going on with them, China is almost about to crumble under their GDP.
Yep.
Germany's having a hard time with their inflation. People are seeing real recession and real pain, and we are still somehow managing to not. Even though it might be around the corner, but even though we have been staying strong this entire time.
Yep.
So, we don't know what's around the corner, around the bend, but, and I'll save that for another time when I'm thinking, being a prediction. But I do feel that challenge is great. We don't need a monopoly. We don't need a dynasty,
Yeah.
But you're not voting for Hunter Biden.
No.
You're voting for a man who loves his son. And at the same time, he wouldn't have given his whole life to America if he didn't love America. So there's nothing unpatriotic about who this human being is.
No, and
he's sincere when he talks.
He is. I guess that's my thing. You can say all the things you want about him, but he's not a bad president. He is good at connecting with people in person.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I love a good speaker. Don't get me wrong. Obama, I could listen to that man speak all day. But, I will say that the reason Obama was so powerful is because he could combine these two things. He was a great speaker, but he was also extremely personable and could make people feel good and like he was paying attention to just them for those 2 minutes or whatever he spent with you. And Joe Biden isn't the best speaker. And some of it is because of his stutter and whatever the reasons are. But the one thing I've noticed is when you put Biden in a crowd and he starts working the crowd and talking to people directly, that's where his strong suit is.
Yeah.
That's where he connects with people.
On the picket line, right there, shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder. He flew to Israel. He went to the picket lines in Michigan. This isn't some old dude that's just sitting behind, the Resolute desk watching Fox News all day and rage tweeting. This dude,
or golfing,
he goes and walks on the beach. He does his thing.
I didn't say.
No, I know.
We're talking about golfing though, 300 something days out of the year, brother. Yeah. That's a record right there. That is a record.
What's up, MJ? Wish I saw your comments on Ivanka and Phillips. I don't know, man.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm interested to see what the competition brings.
I think that's what I was going to say.
Joe Biden's not out of the fight, and any competitor that comes up, it's going to be interesting. But I will say, because you brought up his cabinet, I do want to see him build up the bench more.
Yes. 100%.
I.e., really give younger Democrats underneath him, being that Kamala Harris, Buttigieg, like if he really caters some of them to really step out of the fold, I would love to see that come out of this as well. Because I feel like some of that has been kind of swept under the rug, and we need some of that attention, because after him, we're starting off almost from scratch until we have these competitors that come into the primary who then start really building a name for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've got some big names in the Democratic Party. that I think will be powerful in the very near future. It's just but I agree with you 100%. It would be nice to see Biden, just I don't even just want to put it on Biden. It would be nice to see the Democratic Party making it very, very clear who the next, the heir apparent is. And
It will.
it's not,
It will. It will soon.
I hope.
It will.
I
Yeah,
hope.
it will. We have to go through this process because we have to talk about what's right for now, and it's healthy to talk about it.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
it's just having a meeting around the dinner table.
Yep.
Where do we want to go? And then at the same time, as you've seen with Hakeem Jeffries and the House, everybody gets behind and everybody pushes for that.
Yep.
And you're not seeing that kind of turbulence. You're seeing that turbulence between social media and like left and leftists, far left, really now going at it over what they want to see. But you're not seeing that with the moderate or with the people who are actually really in power,
Yeah.
pushing for unity. So, I mean, we will see, but we still have enough time for us to work out those kinks. But it's nothing like we're seeing on the other side of the aisle.
Oh God, no. Like,
it's
and that's my thing. I don't want people to think because I criticize Democrats that I'm not on board. Like, I think of course we can make our party better, but at the end of the day, we need to do exactly what you just said that the Democrats did. They presented a very united front. They never wavered through, all the votes for
17.
Yeah, I think it was 17 or 18. Yeah. So, but they never wavered.
God.
And that to see that from
Ridiculous.
my side, from what I consider to be my side, it's nice because, that's what I think the American people need right now. We need unification.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty clear to me which party is interested in that.
On that note, welcome to the Shead Show.
That's it. Hey, so thank you so much for tuning in. Kaylin, MJ, Sonia, everybody, thank you for hanging out with us for an hour and 20 minutes. Kaylin, please enjoy your World Series baseball game. I hope the Rangers win.
Beer and a hot dog. Let's go.
Let's
go.
go.
Better. Thanks for having me on, man. Great seeing you.
Brother, always. So yeah, this is Ian Sherman, my co-host and very long-term friend. Known each other since we both had hair.
Brother, man, it's like Woody and Buzz, man. Come on, buddy.
Let's go. But no, guys, seriously, thank you so much. Your support means the world to us, and that you take an hour out of your day to come spend it with us. It's awesome. So I will leave you as I always do with much love. Keep fighting, and we'll see you guys next time.